October of 2017, and the last one being February 23rd of 2018, correct?
Correct.
We also had some questions. About your wallet and the center console. Do you recall those?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Excuse me, Mr. DeFore, was there an exhibit number for this?
What's that? That one is 704, and the other one is 703.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Showing you the mark for identification as Exhibit 703. That is your wallet there on the seat?
That is correct.
All right. Your Honor, I'd move the admission of Exhibit 703. I'm going to ask to publish it in a moment.
Okay.
All right, Exhibit 703 will be received.
And Exhibit 704, that is your center console in your car, correct?
Correct.
All right. Move the admission of Exhibit 704, and I'll ask to publish that one as well.
Any objection to 704? 704 will be received.
All right. And I'm also asking to publish 704. Your Honor.
All right, you may publish.
So we're clear, Ms. McCandless. I think we're better off with the lights on, actually. Thank you. This is your wallet right here, correct?
Correct.
All right. And then this is your center console, correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. We had some questions yesterday, and you had testified yesterday about the position you were in when Alex first got into the car. Do you recall that?
Yes.
All right. And you recall being interviewed on March 23rd, 2018, correct? Or 24th, I'm sorry.
I don't have an independent memory of everything I said during those interviews, but yes, I do know I've been interviewed.
May I approach, Your Honor,
You may.
looking at Exhibit 290, page 52. So,
Can you wait 1 minute, please?
sure, that's fine. Starting in line 2443, or 2343. Ready?
Yes, oh, I'm sorry.
Good, thank you. So I'm showing you, we're starting at line 2343. Interviewer 2, which was Investigator Conkey, states, asks you, describe to me when you were in the back seat prior to him attacking you, how were you positioned? And your answer is, I was facing down, moving things out of the car to look in my seats and stuff, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And you also, yesterday, your statement was that you took the blanket and the pillow out of the car while
Yes.
you were going through things.
Yes, that is correct.
May I approach again, Your Honor, counsel,
may.
page 53, starting at line 2392. so then Detective Croc asks you, okay, so then you're in the back. Did you throw anything outside the car when you were digging around for stuff? Your answer is, no, I didn't throw anything out. I was just moving things around and stuff, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
I want to talk to you for a short time about the journals and some of the entries that Alex wrote. Okay?
All right.
May I approach your Honor?
You may.
697.
Which one?
Got a couple questions in general, and then I will tell you when it's okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay?
Thank you.
I handed to you what was previously marked and admitted as Exhibit 697. Do you have that?
Yes.
And that is a document that, or a binder that contains quite a few pages, correct?
That is correct.
And if I understand it correctly, these are the originals plus typed pages of journal entries, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And outside of one that we've talked about in a in a sidebar, you've read prior to the incidents on March 22nd, all of these entries, correct?
That is correct.
And these, in addition, these were items that were provided to your attorneys as part of discovery, correct?
That is correct.
And they provided them to you then, correct?
Yes.
And you've had them in your possession for quite some time, correct?
Yes.
I want to start with one that your attorney did not ask you about, so could you turn to, it'd be tab 13.
I'm there.
All right, and that is an entry titled Desire and Will, correct?
Tab 13 is a written confession.
That looks like tab
Oh,
12.
sorry, I was previous tab. Actually, tab 14 is a desire to will if maybe I'm not understanding the way
Okay,
it's...
the tab is in front of the
Okay, yes.
entry, not behind
Yes.
it?
Okay,
All right. Okay, so are we there? Desire and will?
yes, we are there.
All right. And starting on the first page, it would be it's a partial paragraph under where it says DOJ 2530. Do you see that? The paragraph starts as curious.
Yes,
All right. The last sentence in that paragraph reads as follows, does it not? Put in a clear way, need aims to possess, in desire aims to give, while erotic desire aims to share or partake, correct?
correct.
All right. Turn to the next page in that. It'd be the first full sentence on that starts with love. Do you see where I'm at? There's a partial sentence and then a sentence that begins love becomes. Do you see that?
One moment, please.
Right at the top of page 41.
Yes.
All right. That sentence reads, love becomes love of the infinite. That is the good, and the G in good is capitalized, correct?
Correct.
And then continues, the next sentence reads, love and do as you desire becomes a principle of excellent morality, correct?
Correct.
All right. Skipping down a little bit to the paragraph directly under DOJ 2531, The first full sentence of that paragraph starts with love and do as you desire. Do you see that?
DOJ 2531,
Yes.
the first sentence
First full sentence.
starts with desire.
Love and do as you desire. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. The next sentence after that. Love and do as you desire. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right. That sentence reads, love and do as you desire transforms into infinite obligation. It says if you actually love, you'll give and give. No matter what your love asks for, that is your desire, correct?
Correct.
And actually, could you turn to the actual written portion of that, which would be the last page of tab
Understand why this was happening.
13. That actually isn't quite accurately transcribed, isn't it? That paragraph actually says, love and do as you desire transforms into infinite obligation. It says if you actually love, you will give and give and give. So there's 3 gives, is there not?
Finding it. Yes.
So there, at least the transcription is not actually 100% accurate, is it?
No, they're missing 1 give.
Right. And then finally, as it relates to that particular journal entry, let's move down towards the end of the next paragraph. It'd be 3 lines up from the bottom. Do you see a sentence that starts with here? It's right at the end of that third from the bottom line of that paragraph.
First.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. DeBoer.
It's the paragraph right after the one that we just talked about.
Are you saying all self-love? Are you speaking of the one that says all self-love is shaken?
No, we're at the in the paragraph right below the one that I just quoted from. Okay, and 3 lines up from the bottom of that paragraph, it says here. Do you see that right at the end of the line? If I can approach around, I can.
Yes, please.
You may approach.
Thank you.
We're speaking of 2531, yes.
So, what's
Oh, thank you.
not trying to trick you.
No.
All right, so that sentence reads, here the phrase becomes a challenge to give up both selfish need and selfless desire so that a future can become, correct?
Correct.
And the phrase that's being referred to is love and do as you will, correct?
Yes, it seems so.
Now, you also testified that Alex talked about cannibalism as having something to do with taking away someone's power. Do you recall that?
Yes, it was something we talked about during conversation.
There is never a reference to that in any of the journal entries that we have here, is there?
I don't exactly remember, but it is something we spoke about.
My question isn't if you spoke about it. My question is, there is never a single entry in any of these journal essays that refers to cannibalism as a way to take the power of someone else, is there?
I cannot give an exact answer, but I don't believe from my memory, no, I don't remember.
And you also talked about it in terms of cannibalism as a way to keep a lover with you after death, to paraphrase what your testimony was. You can't point to a single spot in these journals where Alex says that either, can you?
No, It's not in the journals, it was during conversation.
It's not in the journals, correct?
That is correct.
And just so that I have it clear in my mind, the first time you actually talked to Alex was in a bar, correct?
That is correct.
All right. And you had seen him writing in his journal, correct?
Yes.
And at that point in time, he shared his writings with you, correct?
That is correct.
And so the first writing he shared with you when he's first meeting you in a bar was related to cannibalism.
That is correct.
Let's turn to the item dead to me. It's in the first set of tabs, tab number 2. And again, remember, the tab is before the entry, not after.
Thank you.
All right. Are you there?
Yes.
All right. Now you read a portion of the first or the last paragraph on that page that starts with "because you are dead to me." Do you recall that?
You said tab 2?
Tab 2 of the first section. There's 2 sets of tab numbers.
I'm sorry.
Right.
Yes.
It's a little confusing, I understand. All right. So we're on dead to me, right?
Yes, we are on dead to me.
All right. And so that last paragraph, you read that first sentence, which says, "Because you are dead to me, this love fails to be truly erotic now, though it may have been. Instead, we are speaking of cannibalism," correct? You read that?
Yes.
All right. The next sentence actually reads then, "The you I loved was consumed by me, incorporated back into a flesh, heterogeneous to itself," correct?
Correct.
All right. And obviously, earlier in that same passage, he's talking about the person still being clearly alive, correct?
Yes.
So he is not talking about cannibalism in any actual sense, is he? Correct?
No, at this point it's philosophical, yes?
It's a metaphoric sense, correct?
Yes.
And there is not a single entry in there where Alex, in that particular essay, where Alex talks about consuming another individual literally, correct?
Correct.
You turn to, it will be again in that first section of tabs, tab 5.
Violation?
Yes. Are you there?
Correct. I am there.
Okay, when you're ready, let me know.
Sorry.
Sure. Ready, counsel?
Yes.
All right. In that section, which you talked about, a portion of it, he also writes, and this would be in the third paragraph, the last 2 sentences of that third paragraph, he states, "So I gave myself to you to attempt a healing love. Such an act is doomed from the start," correct?
Correct.
So he's indicating that his love is attempting to heal, correct?
I believe so.
That's what it says, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Let's move to, this would be the second set of tabs, tab 1.
Extra scriber?
It should be come as you are, flaws and all.
That is correct.
All right. You ready, counsel? All right. In the last paragraph there, the start of that paragraph states, only by you coming naked to my call, essentially my being naked first, can love fully be erotic, correct?
Correct.
So essentially, he's saying that both parties to the relationship need to be naked to the other to expose their own flaws, correct?
Correct.
And we move to the next tab, tab 2 of the second section. And my Latin is not very good, so I'm not going to even try to pronounce that. But let's start with going to the second page of the typed portion of it. You read that first sentence about him being, those first two sentences about him being afraid.
Yes.
The rest of that paragraph, besides those first two sentences, reads, afraid I will use someone for redemption and self-mutilation, but I will love myself, forgive myself, and love you anyways. I am no longer myself. I don't know who I am. So let me apologize and forgive myself for becoming something new.
Correct.
And in the next paragraph, he talks, actually, never mind that. Let's go back to the first page. The second paragraph, the last sentence of that second paragraph states, I really do love you, but I am unworthy, correct?
I'm sorry, I don't see where that is.
That's the second paragraph
Second paragraph.
On the first page or the last second page?
on the first page of that journal entry, first typewritten page, second paragraph. It's a paragraph that starts, this is old advice. Do you see that?
Yes.
All right. And the last sentence of that reads, I really do love you, but I am unworthy, correct?
Correct.
And you read a portion of the fourth paragraph there where it starts, I have half-heartedly. The sentence after the portion you read reads, yet I love you, correct?
Correct.
And then moving down to the second full paragraph under DOJ 2483, the first sentence of that reads, my gratitude is that my fear of myself taught me to love more than I am allowed to, correct?
Correct.
And then continuing to the second last line of that same paragraph, the first sentence of that line reads, I could follow you in your footsteps and give my life for whoever needed it, correct?
Correct.
Again, he's talking about giving his life for the one he loves, correct?
I can't say that, no.
Well, it says, I could follow in your footsteps and give my life for whoever needed it, correct?
Correct.
Did you turn to tab 4 in that section? That's from the past memories.
Yes.
All right. Now you read a part in there where it be the first full paragraph under 2485, the paragraph that starts in the face of all my anxiety. Do you recall reading the part that started with, I know you wanted to change me? Do you recall reading that?
Yes.
Right. Immediately after the part that you read, is it not true that he writes, quote, I was too Hegelian, or I call it such now. You were my master, correct?
Correct.
Indicating that the one he's talking about, the love he's talking about, was his master, not the other way around, correct?
Yes, he wrote that.
Could you turn to tab 7?
When I lost myself?
Yes. That's another one that you read something of right at the very end of that passage. I want to talk about on the first page of that passage. Do you see it would be the first full paragraph under DOJ 2504, the paragraph that starts, this is a naive result. Are you at that paragraph?
Yes, I am.
The last sentence of that paragraph reads, in committing to a set of values, one formulates a naive ideal that one resolves, even if weakly, to strive toward, correct?
Correct.
And going back to the last page of that section, the page that you had read something from,
I'm sorry.
we're on page, it's marked as page 30. I want to have you take a look at, under DOJ 2507, the last 2 lines of that, and then the part of the first 2 lines of the next page, which is DOJ 2508. It's a page, it starts with, I've recently fallen. Do you see that?
Yes.
Right. And that reads, I've recently fallen for a young man who is in a rather unhealthy relationship. I don't believe that I am doing evil. I suspect that I might even be doing good. But this means that even if only the former holds, I can really do whatever I will, so long as that is not evil. Correct?
Yes.
You turn to the next tab, tab 8 of that section, titled Between Love and Obligation.
Yes.
You there?
Yes, I am.
All right. In the second paragraph, you had read the first sentence of that. Move down about a few lines. It'd be the 4th line from the bottom. Do you see where it starts? Do as you will.
Yes.
And do as you will. It reads, do as you will, so long as you love, which gives far less freedom, as one cannot do anything when one loves, and love can cause quite limiting obligations. Correct?
Yes.
And continuing down a little ways, under DOJ 2512, would be the first full paragraph under there, the 3rd line down. Do you see where it starts, do as you will?
Yes.
All right, it reads, do as you will, yes. But there are things you also ought to do regardless of whether or not you want to, correct?
Correct.
And then finally on that, in the second last line on that page, it reads, you love, so I ought not abuse, correct?
Yes.
Let's move to the next tab. Another entry that you didn't, your council did not have you reference, but that's the one titled Letting It Be.
Yes.
Right. The third paragraph under there, the start of it reads that something is permissible does not mean one ought to do it, merely that one may. Correct?
Correct.
Let's move to tab 21. Tab entitled Between Two Hands.
Yes.
All right. In the portion that you read, Alex writes that there is writes as if he has a severely damaged hand, correct?
That is correct.
He does not, in fact, have a severely damaged hand, does he?
I only know what he described to me about his hand.
He does not have a severely damaged hand, correct?
I can't say that, no. I'm not a doctor.
Well, he was able to use both his right and his left hand, correct?
Yes.
Never saw him have difficulty using either his right or his left hand to do something, correct?
He was just describing to me the feelings about his hand. That is correct.
You never saw him have difficulty using either his right or his left hand, correct?
I cannot remember that, no.
I'm sorry?
I can't remember that specifically, no.
You can't remember that he had difficulty or that he didn't have difficulty?
Yes.
Let's move finally to another one that the council did not ask you about, which would be the 25th tab on that page titled Authors and Others.
Yes.
This is the tab immediately after the one titled Faith and Flesh, correct?
That is correct.
And take a look at the second paragraph of that entry. The second line down, you see where it starts, the author of Flesh and Faith.
Yes.
All right. That reads from there to the end of that paragraph, the author of Flesh and Faith believed that to have any value or any worth at all, they must possess self-hatred as to willingly kill themselves for the sake of any other. Their notion of love was such that being loved was a detriment to their lovability. The final sentences show this clearly. Being loved for them is absolute proof that they are incapable of loving or being worthy of love. Now, I cannot help but think their view is untenable, because they can only be good insofar as they are the sole guilty, as far as they will ever know. For meeting another lover damns the whole project to failure, correct?
Correct.
And moving to the next page, the first full paragraph under DOJ 2566 starts, I love you all, each and every author, reader, writer, you. Know that whatever becomes of me, for this unconclusive postscript is my suicide note. It will only be found post-mortem, correct?
Correct.
And then finally, he concludes this entry with, quote, always prefer life and never stop affirming survival. I love you and I'm smiling at you from wherever I am, correct?
Correct.
Now, when you talked to Detective Prock on March 24th either, did you?
No.
You also never once told Detective Prock on March 23rd anything about Alex and cannibalism, correct?
I don't have independent, strong memories about that conversation, but I've seen the transcript and no, I have not.
And you never once on March 24th mentioned anything about cannibalism to Detective Prock, correct?
That is correct.
Now you were on the stand yesterday, you said that Alex told you that he was going to have you one more time, correct?
That is correct.
However, when you talked to Detective Prock on may I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Counsel, we're going to be on page 61 of Exhibit 290. Uh, 2749.
21, I'm sorry, 27.
49.
Thank you.
You ready?
Yes.
Okay. It says, Detective Prock asks, okay, was it any time during your guys' conversation there talk about sex today or sex that day? About him wanting to have sex with you or you wanting to have sex with him? Your response is, no, I didn't want to have sex at all. Question, did he? Answer, I don't think so. Question, why did he have the knife and why and to cut your pants? And your answer was, I think he just wanted to look at me, correct?
I was answering the questions to the best of my ability at that time for Prock. But yes,
I
I don't.
read that accurately, correct?
Yes, I don't dispute that now.
So you never told Detective Prock in that interview that Alex wanted to have sex with you one more time, did you?
In that interview, no, I did not.
When you met, when you went to Mr. Sipple's residence and he asked you, based on the 911 operator's request, what happened, you told him you could not remember, correct?
I could not remember. Yes.
That's what you told him, correct?
Yes, I could not remember at that time.
You told Joe Wayne that you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes, I could not remember at that time.
You told Joe Wayne that you could not remember what happened, correct?
That is correct.
You told Deputy Shields that you could not remember what happened, correct?
Correct.
You told Officer Reeves you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes, I could not remember.
You told Officer Reeves you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
You told the first nurse at the hospital that you met that you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
You told Dr. Tillotson you could not remember what happened, correct?
Which doctor was Dr. Tillotson again?
Dr.
please?
Tillotson was the one who testified in court.
Yes.
You told Jennifer Morris you could not remember what happened, correct?
At that time, I don't have strong memories of who I talked to, but yes, I could not remember at that time.
You told Jennifer Morris you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
You told Kelly Swartos you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
You told Detective Prock on March 23rd you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
And until Detective Prock confronted you about finding the car on that, at the end of that mud road, you told Detective Prock on March 24th you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes.
And then after Detective Prock confronted you with that, you told him what happened, correct?
I didn't believe he was confronting me, but I started to tell him what
Ma'am,
happened. Yes.
I didn't ask for an explanation. I asked you, you told Detective Prock after he confronted you what you claim happened, correct?
I told him what had happened to me, yes.
And in that same interview, you told Detective Prock you could not get it out of your head what happened, correct?
I couldn't get the fragmented images, the smells, the feelings out of my head, yes. But yes, I did say I could not remember and get it out of my head.
It did not make sense, correct?
Yes.
You told Officer Reeves that the incident happened in Owen Park, correct?
I don't remember speaking very much with Officer Reeves.
Well, and if Officer Reeves testified that you told him it happened in Owen Park, you have no reason to dispute that, do you?
No.
And you told the nurse at the hospital that it happened in Owen Park, correct?
If it's in the transcript, then yes.
And you told Ms. Swartos, Kelly Swartos, that it happened in Owen Park, correct?
I would have to refresh my memory from the transcript.
Okay, never mind, that's fine. But nothing actually happened in Owen Park on March 22nd with Alex Woodworth, did it?
That's correct.
You never, in fact, even went to Owen Park with Alex on March 22nd, did you?
That's correct.
And when you told these people that it happened at Owen Park, you knew that nothing had happened at Owen Park, didn't you?
At that time, everything was a mess.
Yes or no, ma'am?
She has a right to answer the question when she remembers.
The question,
Okay, if you can't answer the question yes or no, then indicate, I can't answer the question yes or no.
All right.
And then you have to answer it how you can answer. Okay.
I can't answer yes or no to that question.
that's fine. And you agree that when you talked to Detective Prock on March 24th of, actually, let's just do it this way. May I approach, Your Honor?
May.
Page 32, counsel, starting at line 1439, exhibit 270.
270, okay, be minute, please.
What page? 32.
Two seven, no, this is 290.
Exhibit 270, or 290, I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
sorry, I
sorry. No
apologize.
worries. What page number?
32. Starting at 1439. Ready?
Yes.
In that interview, Detective Prock asked you, okay, and where was the knife now after he carved that in your arm? Answer, I think he put it in his pocket or he kept it or had it by him, but I don't remember, correct?
Correct.
But you knew that you had the knife and had taken the knife and left it in the ditch near Mr. Sipple's house, correct?
Yes, I was answering his questions to the best of my ability at the time.
Well, in fact, later in that interview, you admit that you had dropped the knife in the ditch somewhere, correct?
Yes.
You told Officer Reeves that you went to Racy's first on March 22nd before you went to Alex's residence, correct?
Judge, this was reviewed yesterday, where
Okay.
she told Officer Reeves, so that's.
I may have. If I asked it already, I will not
Very well. Go ahead and move on.
That's fine, I'll just continue with another area. Ma'am, when you met with Detective Prock on March 23rd, 2018, you knew you were safe, correct?
Yes.
And when you met with Detective Prock on March 24th, 2018, you knew you were safe, correct?
Yes, I knew I was safe.
And you had met with Detective Prock before those two dates, correct?
Yes.
They met with him, in fact, on March 1st of 2018, correct?
Yes,
And talked to him about the John Hanson situation, correct?
that is correct.
And you answered all of his questions that he asked you about the John Hanson situation, correct?
Yes.
With no problems, correct?
Yes.
Yet on March 23rd, 2018, you told Detective Prock you could not remember anything about what happened on March 22nd after you left Alex Woodward's residence, correct?
The interviews, the 23rd and the 24th, in the R1 interview.
Well, the start of those that one interview now that you consider it as, actually, let's put it this way. You were in court when we played those two interviews, correct?
Correct.
All right. And in the first one, which we played just before the end of a day, you recall that you told Detective Prock repeatedly in that you could not remember what happened after you left Alex's residence, correct?
Correct.
And you were present when we played the next day with Detective Prock the interview of March 24th, correct?
Yes.
And you agree that you repeatedly, again until Detective Prock confronted you about finding the car, told Detective Prock you couldn't remember what happened, correct?
I wasn't ready.
Since we're tentative, this question has been asked and answered numerous times already.
I don't recall the specific question. Perhaps it has been, but I mean, again, because of the not finishing in one day, I'm going to give a little latitude. So go ahead and answer that question if you can. Overruled.
And at that point in time when you
Mr. DeFore,
talked to,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you repeat the question for me?
I thought it was answered already, so, oh, it wasn't? Okay. On March 24th, until Detective Prock confronted you about finding the car, you repeatedly told him you could not remember what happened, correct?
Yes, I had said that.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may have to.
Page 55, line 2491, starting at 2491.
I hate to interrupt counsel, but I just, he's done exactly the same for me. If you want to let him do it again, it's okay, but I just wanted to point out.
On that, is this a different section of not a,
Do I go to a different section?
of page 55,
Oh, I'm sorry, what line number?
2491? Ready?